I am Andrew Mugoya, the founder and principal at Strawpath. Strawpath is an innovation, product development, and solution design lab and consultancy. The best analogy for my vision for Strawpath is, Leonardo da Vinci's lab. Right? So Leonardo da Vinci was involved with pretty much everything, from the arts, painting, poetry, to sciences, mathematics, to invention. He came up with some invention for the aeroplane early on. And he wasn't limited by any specific field or industry. His whole idea was exploration. And that's what Strawpath is. It's a vehicle for exploration. So the vision is a space where all sorts of ideas that are interesting can be explored, whether that's storytelling, whether that's AI, technology, all sorts of ideas can be explored, books, right? And hopefully we can work with partners who want to collaborate with us, but we can also help others who want help in their own journey towards innovation and exploration as well. And in the process, we share those insights through reports, blog posts, social media. We share all our findings for others as well. So that's the vision for Strawpath.
Innovation. What does it even mean? Digital, AI, machine learning, virtual reality, augmented reality? Do I need to be a technology expert to get my ideas realized? How do I go from a simple idea to seeing my innovation in the market, in the hands of paying customers? Technology can seem mysterious and intimidating, limiting what founders, entrepreneurs, and corporations believe they can achieve with digital transformation within their organizations. At Strawpath, we take pride in making technology and innovation simple and less mysterious. The Strawpath Approach is our 5-stage process for taking ideas from inception to prototype to full-fledged product. It is based on decades of experience working with founders, startups, and global corporations. The 5 stages are: 1. Identify opportunities by looking at problems that need solutions. 2. Explore product and solution ideas. 3. Develop simple prototypes. 4. Start gaining traction with initial customers. 5. Strengthen the foundations that will enable your product to scale and grow. At each stage, we explain the key activities and key stakeholders that you need to focus on, using plain language that is accessible and relatable. The Strawpath approach enables you to break a long, complex process into small, manageable steps and focus on the relevant tasks and activities that you can accomplish. So, do you have burning ideas that you have always wanted to explore? Let your imagination go wild. Unlock your inner innovation. Try the Strawpath approach today.
So I'm really excited because today we're going to be talking about Strawpath, and I'm here with Andrew, and Andrew is the principal of Strawpath, and you're just going to give a little bit of an overview as to what you do and your company, and then we can get into a little bit more nitty-gritty.
Yeah, sure. My name is Andrew Mugoya. I'm the founder and principal at Strawpath. Strawpath is an innovation, solution design, and product development company. We develop our own products, but we also work with founders, entrepreneurs, and corporates to help them develop products. And that's what Strawpath is.
Brilliant, fantastic. And I'm really excited because I'm an entrepreneur, and I tend to find that the idea of taking ideas and concepts and then taking them through to sort of like fruition and to a final product is probably the biggest headache that anybody has to go through. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that today.
Same here.
You've got a little process that you work through. You've almost like got 5 stages. And so can we just, if we start at the beginning really with sort of almost like identifying opportunities, that's one of the things that you've put down as one of the things. So could you just sort of give a little bit of an idea of what sort of thing people come to you with, sort of in terms of identifying those opportunities and things?
Yeah, sure. So the process we're calling the Strawpath Approach. Again, trying to make it a brand or a thing as opposed to just a process that we have to describe over and over again. So giving it a name almost is the first stage towards doing that, and it's almost using our own medicine in this case. So the idea, the 5 stages are obviously the first one being identifying opportunities. And what we're talking about there is seeing places or looking at areas that need solutions, right? Or problems that need a solution. And we look at the problems as opportunities.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. So that's why we're saying identifying opportunities as opposed to finding problems.
Yes.
Because those problems are actually opportunities.
Yeah.
And stage one is quite simple. It's looking around you and trying to see what problems exist around you. If it's a business, what problems exist in your business? If it's with your clients, what problems exist with your clients or your customers? And simply just listing down all those problems.
Yeah.
And then finding a way of determining which of those problems you can solve.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you might have different criteria for shortlisting those problems. You might look at resourcing. You might think, I might not have the resources to solve certain problems, so you can keep those away. You might think, I don't have enough subject matter expertise. Again, you could put those away.
Yeah.
You might think they don't have enough of a market, they're not profitable enough. There's all sorts of criteria you could use.
Okay.
But at that first stage, it's literally just going in and identifying, these are all the problems that exist.
Yeah.
And these are the short list of problems that we feel we want to focus on for whatever reason.
Okay.
And that's what all stage one is, identifying opportunities.
And I'm sure that's really where you'd love to see clients immediately at that stage, really.
Yes, I mean...
Or they formulate too much, or,
so we see clients at every stage of the process, but usually when clients come to us at the later stages, we often have to take them back to this stage and interrogate, what problems did you see?
Okay.
And what are you trying to fix?
Yes.
And is this the best problem to fix? So ideally, yes, we'd see you at that stage, but we see clients at every stage, and we'll always try and go back and validate that first stage first before we go too far.
Okay. Yeah. So let's have a think. So obviously, opportunities and identifying those. The next sort of stage is really about product ideas.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at problem solving and you're trying to think, okay, I think I've got something, whether it's a concept for a product or a service.
Yeah.
What's the best approach to that stage?
So first stage one is identifying opportunities, whittling down problems that you think you could solve. Stage two is looking at those short-listed opportunities and trying to figure out, how can I solve them?
Yes.
Right? And there's different ways you can solve them. You can solve them with a product, with a service. You can solve them with a product. You can solve them with technology. You can solve them with physical things. You can solve them with... There's all sorts of ways that you can actually solve problems. So stage two is about looking at the options that you have to solve the problems. Okay. Right? There's no one size fits all, and often it doesn't. Most solutions are not technology based, actually.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they don't have to be technology based.
Yeah.
So in this stage, you're looking and thinking in the spectrum between product and service, and I'll define what that means. Service being something that is almost very manual, based on your time and you manually fixing the problem.
Yeah. And
product being something that is based on a solution that is almost independent of you as an individual, meaning, as a service, services are limited by your time, and, once you retire, your service stops. Products outlive you. If it's a product, it could scale beyond your time limits. But most solutions tend to be within that spectrum. Okay. It's a mixture of product and service. For most entrepreneurs, the ideal is to have a full product that, as you're sleeping, is selling. Yes. And you're happy. But,
almost like a passive income, or especially in this day and age at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Okay. What research within the market do you help with that first sort of taking that product idea? Do you give them sort of an idea of sort of how to put it all together in order to know whether it's something that's worth just taking forward?
So stage two is still, again, whittling down options.
Yeah.
So you might, very high level solution design is happening at this stage, trying to figure out, if we go with it as a service, what does it look like? If we go with it as a product, what does it look like? If we go with a mix of the two, what does it look like? Like I said, most have a mix of the two.
Yeah.
Even technology products have some level of service, whether it's customer service or technical support. Yeah. You almost can never get away from some level of service.
Yeah.
Right? If you buy stuff on Amazon, it still needs some customer support, which is a service. So there's always that mix of the two. So once you have an idea what that looks like, so we help by essentially helping you figure out all the options, what's possible, what's not possible, the amount of resources you'll need, what does it take to build it, what do your customers expect. So yes, we help with the brainstorming. So stage 1 and stage 2, there's a lot of internal brainstorming that's happening.
Yeah, I love the brainstorming stage. I think that's the most exciting part of any business, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
You don't have any boundaries really well, definitely in stage 1, but at stage 2, I suppose you're really starting to pull some things together, aren't you?
Correct. You're trying to solutionize the design, you're trying to come up with some process maps, you're trying to sketch what the product might look like.
Yeah.
It's exciting because it's you're not under any pressure yet.
Yes.
Right. And you still have options.
Yes.
You haven't committed too much yet, resource-wise. So I love those 2 stages as well.
Yeah. Because the next stage, which is almost like taking it to, is it going to be something that you can make it as a viable product?
Correct.
Or a prototype? Or as you say with a service, what's that next thing that you need to do to invest in order to just take it to that next step?
Correct.
How would you approach that side of it?
So the next step, what we're calling MVPPP.
I saw that and I was a bit like, okay.
Yeah, so this is where we get a bit technical, but hopefully that was just a play on. So in the startup world, there's a concept called minimum viable product,
yes.
MVP. So this is our take on it. It's a bit cheeky. So the idea here is, what's the minimum amount of work you need to do or development you need to do to get something that your clients or customers can validate and go, I'd buy that from you.
Yes.
So you're still trying to limit how much resource and investment you're making, because you still don't know yet whether you have something that the market will be ready to take. Okay. Right? You might have a good idea. Most of us fall in love with ideas from day one and be telling the world about it, but you're still not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So MVPs, and sometimes that could be just a pitch deck.
Yeah.
It could be a mock-up of the product. It could be a simple video that explains how it works. It could be you as an entrepreneur essentially mimicking what the product would look like by physically doing the service with your clients.
Yeah.
Anything that you take that, again, the minimum amount that you need to do for your clients to go, yep, I'm happy with that.
Right.
And you'd iterate around that. So you might start off with physically doing it, and then you might then turn around and go, what's the next iteration? So it's a series of stages. The MVP is a series of stages.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it's meant to take you from the very minimum to at some point you're going, I think I've got something that clients want. I've iterated enough, and now I'm ready to turn this into something that's fully fledged into a product.
In terms of budgets or investment into something like that, do you have sort of like ballpark figures that you work with clients and you can think, well, you are looking at about this? I think from any business, that's probably the bottom line, isn't it? Is like, what is this going to cost? You're still sort of like obviously putting flesh onto those bones of the idea at this point. But do you have an average idea of what sort of spend you'd be looking at?
Yeah, so I've seen entrepreneurs spend as little as zero for the minimum viable. By zero, I mean they've only invested their time.
Yes.
Right. So they haven't actually gone out to the market. So I've seen entrepreneurs that have simply prepared a PDF, put it out to market, receive some response, and that's good enough for them to go, I've got something or I haven't got something.
Right.
And I've also seen some people go full-fledged and spend hundreds of thousands. It all depends on the kind of solution, the kind of client that you're trying to pitch for. So if you are, for example, General Motors,
yes,
your concept or minimum viable product will obviously have to cost a few millions because it's a concept car and you're putting that out there and you're trying to see what that looks like. If you're, Andrew Mugoya sitting in his kitchen, again, you spend anything from zero in some cases. I'd imagine for most entrepreneurs, especially those of us who are, starting out, a few £100 to a few £1,000 is the range. And by few, I mean the lower end of thousands of pounds. Should be a good starting point. But you might need to iterate that as you gain more traction, as you get customers giving you feedback. You might scale that up a bit. Okay. But I think a few £1,000 should be good enough to get you something where you think, I think I'm on something.
So that's very achievable, actually, isn't it? It's not. I think a lot of the time when I think about coming to a company like yours, it would probably cost thousands before you even start. So you actually work with companies that are quite small startups, don't you?
Yeah. So
as well as
I think one of the reasons why I started Strawpath So Strawpath is a slightly unique technology company. We're mostly advisory, right? And we said we also develop our own products. So we tend to walk the walk, as well as talk the talk. Right? So the idea is that because we're advisory and we're neutral, we're trusted advisors. We're neutral in terms of what the solution also looks like. We won't try and channel you down a specific path from day one, right? We're not trying to make money from saying to you, use our product or use this solution or use that, right?
That's great.
And that gives us a bit of so it means for every entrepreneur we speak to, we try and look at the solution that best suits them. And if that solution means we channel you to a different vendor, so be it, or we say to you, we might not be able to work with you, or we might not understand your problem space enough. Or if we think we have a solution that we could help, again, we'd still want to compare that to the market for you to have a transparent view as to what's going on.
That's good.
So that allows you to have full transparency and to only spend what you need to spend, rather than you thinking, or us coming at it thinking, we need you to spend money with us and spend as much money with us. Because we already have, we already have something for you.
So. Okay. Oh no, that sounds great. And then, well, obviously, once we've got to the idea that you've actually got something in, a prototype, or you've got that next stage. After that, it's obviously about traction, isn't it? And trying to understand that. So, from that perspective, how do you work with your clients to encouraging them to obviously build it, grow it, make it work, that type of things?
So if we go back to the first stage where we're saying, look at the problems around you that are within your context. Like I said, one of the mistakes I've made and I've seen other founders make is we try and solve problems that are in other people's spaces, right? So we see a problem somewhere else and go, we can solve that. But we soon realize we don't have enough subject matter knowledge. We're not in that environment. We have no idea what the actual customers are, what the pain points are. But if you start off by solving problems around you, a lot of times you're your own first customer, actually. Right? So you're actually solving it for yourself first. And if you could solve it and use it, you're already your first customer. Then the next question becomes, how do you find like-minded people with the same problem, right? So again, if you're solving, if one person has that pain point, chances, and it's a true pain point, chances are there'll be a couple of other people like them.
Absolutely.
So several ways you can access those initial customers. One is, if you solve it very well for that first person, that first person is likely to tell other people. Right?
Yes, recommendations.
And the second bit is finding other people that look like them. Where do they hang out? Online, offline? Where do you find these people? And simply just doing the legwork to speak to them. From my experience, at this stage, it's still too early to start doing full-blown marketing, because again, that's an investment spent. And that needs you to know who you're marketing to and what the profile of your customer looks like, or your avatar looks like. So at this stage, it's a lot of legwork. It's a lot of, again, we talked about the exciting bits being the early days when you're, at this stage, this is where it starts getting scary, because you're having to get out of your comfort zone, start pounding the pavement and speaking to people, getting a lot of no's.
I think that sometimes that negative voice sometimes can be quite horrible, especially when you've been in that exciting element. But it's usually that's usually a time of growth, isn't it? In terms of taking the project from where you initially think it is, and it sometimes feeds in new ideas into it to maybe create it in the right direction. So I think that's a tricky one for a lot to take, isn't it?
That's a very good point you raise. It's tricky because it's scary, obviously, because you're now getting negative feedback for some people. But it's important to recognize the false positives and the false negatives as well. Right? So every customer or client that says no, it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily mean you've got a bad product. It could be that they're not your target market. Right? Or it could be that they're your target market, but they're not quite there yet. Right? So it's also a very tricky stage where you are trying to figure out the false positives, the false negatives, and the true positives and the true negatives, and that's also very tricky. One thing I should mention about every stage is, so as Strawpath, we act as advisors, but we tend to also work with partners or point our clients to partners who can actually, so if it's user research at the early stages, if it's prototyping,
yes,
again, pointing into vendors who might be able to do the actual prototyping you need. At this stage, if it's marketing or market research, again, getting the experts in to go, let's do some proper market research.
Yeah.
We are not trying to position ourselves as the experts that do everything. We tend to be more trusted advisors that work with you as an entrepreneur.
And you've got people that you trust as well within those other elements to make that side of things run smoothly as well.
Yeah, so we've got our own, obviously, list of vendors, but at the same time, we also try and find the best vendors for the entrepreneur. We, again, not trying to channel them down a specific path that we've prejudged or predetermined. So, but it's important to recognize that at every stage, you're relying on experts and pulling in the right experts and helping. You have someone next to you that goes, do we think this is the right expert? For a lot of entrepreneurs, picking vendors is just as tricky as picking the right products.
Oh gosh, yes, yes.
And a lot of the vendors themselves are trying to advise you on the product as well.
Yeah.
So you almost need an independent voice that goes, you're not a vendor, tell me what you think. And that's where Strawpath comes in.
Brilliant. And I think, there are sort of like terms that are sort of used a lot now, like sustainability, trying to make sure you're, whatever market you're in, that you're obviously hitting the right voice and the right sound. So you need companies that will support you.
Correct.
In that. So that's amazing.
Correct, yeah.
So once you've got yourself established, the biggest thing I think for any business, and I know this is something that I always have come up against, is the scalability of something. Of how, is it possible to take that idea, which you've obviously come up with the exciting part, you've now got your product and you've now obviously want to take it into the marketplace and to try and get it out there and scale it. Do you have any advice on that side of things?
So again, I go back to the point about experts. So again, at every stage, you're looking at who are the experts or the resource. What are the resources you need to make? So at the stage at which you have gotten a bit of traction, you've validated your idea, you've figured out who your customers are, you've had a few people testing it. You might not even have registered it as a company yet. You might not have it as a brand. You're still just trying it out. You might have had a few, samples, or you've gone to a few exhibitions and tried it out, and now you're sure you've got traction.
Yeah.
The next stage is essentially saying, how do you now turn this into a full-fledged product? Usually a company or a brand in its own right.
Yes.
Right. And again, at that stage, it's bringing in the right people, whether it's brand managers, whether it's if it's a company, managers. You might be the CEO. You might bring in someone else to be the CEO. You might need a board of advisors. And again, it's going back to business 101. What do you need to run a company sustainably, scalably, and usually, and I think a lot of us fear this stage because we think, well, we need to hire in a lot of people. No, but I've found you could actually just work with consultants. You might start off by going, I don't have a marketing manager, but I can bring in a marketing consultant or a marketing agency to act as my marketing manager, so to speak.
Yes.
Right? I might bring in an operations manager, or I might outsource the development of it. There's a lot of outsourcing that happens. I mean, Apple doesn't build its own iPhones. It outsources that to Foxconn.
Okay.
And all they do is quality assure and take care of the design. You might do the same thing. But whichever way you look at it, you still have to have the right structures in place to go, this is now scalable. Yeah. It might be involved protecting your brand, whether you trademark it. It might, mean your intellectual property is somehow copyrighted. It's figuring out what does this mean to make this something that can grow beyond one person standing on a stall trying to sell it.
Yeah,
right? And that's tricky.
What I like the sound of what Strawpath does is it handholds you.
Correct.
Through those elements.
Correct,
especially the bits that you don't know yourself. I think, as an entrepreneur especially, if you are working a lot on your own, on lots of different projects, it can be quite a lonely thing, but you can't be the expert at everything. And it's recognising that you do need some of those experts that you can pull in, but that you don't have to have a massive staff, as you say.
Correct. And we're not experts at everything either, actually. All we're saying is we simply walk that journey with. So the whole idea of Strawpath, if you've seen the branding, is there's a lot of talk about exploration, imagination, innovation. And by exploration, we essentially mean we're figuring it out as we go. Yeah. Right? We're trying to use established processes and paths to do that, but we're still exploring. So the idea is we might not have all the answers, but we'll explore for those answers together
Right.
And we'll be that partner that helps you explore for those answers and hopefully find, partners and vendors that can help you make this success.
And I'm assuming as well, obviously, once you've worked with a client like this, I bet you've got long-term relationships with the clients that you've previously worked with, that if there's anything that comes from it, usually an idea has other things that sort of comes from it.
Correct. So innovation never ends. So if you look at all the established companies, they're always innovating. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's a cycle that just keeps. Once you get to the end of it, you're scaling. You go back to the beginning and go, what new feature could we add? What new product line could we add? What the whole innovation cycle means it never ends because problems never end.
Yeah.
Right? There's always a problem to fix. I mean, I think we've gone through cycles where we've thought everything's been fixed now. Yeah. But then the young guys come in and go, no, we're going to fix, we'll show you a new solution to an old problem. Yeah. Right? So there's always that challenge. Technology is evolving. We're now talking about AI quite a lot. Mm-hmm. That's bringing up new ways of solving old problems. Yeah. So even problems that you think have been fixed, you can always revisit those and go, could we fix this better? Because things have changed, the market's changed. And that's what keeps it exciting. Yeah. I think the key thing for us is we're saying to all the founders and entrepreneurs we speak to, especially the ones who are non-technical, so to speak, that innovation should not be scary, right? It's not the domain of technologists or a certain group of people. Mm-hmm. And we can all innovate because we all have problems and we all have ideas as to how to solve those problems. Mm-hmm. You might not know how the solution works, but that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't find partners who can help you figure that bit out. Yeah. Right. You don't have to be a full-fledged developer to be an innovator or to come up with ideas. You can be just normal like the rest of us and go, I have an idea, I think I know how to solve it. Can I find a partner who will help me walk that journey?
So can I just ask, one of the questions that I know will come up, and I know you've answered this probably in your FAQs, but is how do I know that if I've got this great idea and I come to you, that you wouldn't take this idea and do it yourself? Or the vendors that we speak to, will they do that? Because I think you do need to be careful, don't you, with that. So can you just explain a little bit about what you do to protect people's ideas?
I'd say to start off with, reputationally, we are trusted advisors. Mm-hmm. So if we jeopardize that by either abusing the trust of any client, then it's a very unsustainable business. I mean, we wouldn't be in business for very long if that was how we operated. But having said that, we obviously have confidentiality agreements with clients if they need that. We obviously protect data, protect the, we try not to share any information that we receive from clients with any other clients. So we all those boxes are ticked as expected. But the one thing I'll say there as well is, oftentimes the problem is not about ideas being stolen. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem that ideas face is that just entrepreneurs don't see them through. Right? Yes. Because if you think about it, there are a number of products that are in the market that you see that someone has thought about for months. It hits the market and no one is using it. Yeah. So we see to a lot of founders, you spend a lot of time worrying about your idea being stolen, but guess what? Once you've developed it, you'll be struggling to get people to even just listen to it. Yes. Right. So worry less about it being stolen and worry more about executing it to completion and being persistent and consistent, and doing the things you need to do. If it's pounding the pavement, again, a lot of us are scared to do that. I've been in that I've been in that situation. So it's less worrying about my idea being stolen. It's more around, do I have the stamina to see this through? And the consistency. Yeah, I think you're right. I think because entrepreneurs are ideas and they're creatives, taking it through all those areas, and especially the bits that, as we were just saying, they don't know themselves. Yeah, exactly. What's lovely to know is that if you come to Strawpath, you can direct, give some ideas as to where you can go, or support them through that journey, which is... Correct. And part of it, going back to the point about, seeing it through, if you're someone who likes ideas and you probably just want to stop at giving ideas in the prototype stage, we'll help you explore. You might want to sell it on to someone else. Yeah. That's an avenue you could take. You might not want to build it into our own business. You could sit down and think to yourself, I've developed something. I've gotten into a stage where it looks like it's a proper thing. Yeah. I've gotten some IP because maybe I've gotten a brand and I've trademarked that and I've solution designed this and I have a few mock-ups. Yeah. You have options to go, I might want to sell this on to someone else, I might want to build out operationally. I might want to have it as a company, as a standalone company, and have a whole set of different people doing that, investors potentially. Those are all options you can look at. You might want to think about getting grant funding. The UK government is very good at giving grant funding for all sorts of ideas. So there's loads of options you can follow.
And I think actually, just in terms of grant funding, I don't think a lot of companies know what they've got, what's available for them to even tap into. So
exactly, and the irony is there's a lot of grant funding for non-technical people, but because non-technical people don't think that they're innovators, they literally. So, for example, there's a lot of grant funding for the media, for the arts and the creative spaces, right? Okay. If they can come up with innovative solutions, right? Okay. So if you're in media or if you're in the creative space and you come up with an innovative solution, there's loads of grant funding available. But if you speak to a lot of people in the media and the creative spaces, they go, well, I'm not a techie, so I'm not innovative. So you then end up there's a lot of grant funding that you don't get. Yeah. But we are all innovators, we're all creators. You might not understand how the technology works, but that doesn't mean you can't innovate and come up with ideas.
Yeah. Oh, I know, it's brilliant. Oh my gosh, you've even got all my ideas going now again. So Andrew, if people are looking to work with you, how can they get in touch with you? And is there a chance just to give you a call and just maybe talk through some ideas just to see whether it's something that you can help them with?
Yeah, so you can find us on our website, strawpath.com. We're on LinkedIn as Strawpath. We are on YouTube as Strawpath. Happy to say that Strawpath is a registered trademark. So hopefully, that's unique to us. So yeah, you can find us on our website, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. You can also just drop us an email at explore@strawpath.com. And we're open to some initial consultation, a free consultation. Just have a chat. Our approach is very conversational. We're not trying to do the hard sell. If we can work with you, we will work with you. If we don't think we have the right suit, we'll happily tell you that. We can point you at resources that can get you up and running almost at no cost online. So feel free to get in touch for an initial consultation. Shouldn't cost you anything, and we can take it from there.
Lovely. Yeah. So get in touch with Strawpath.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Strawpath works with founders, entrepreneurs, and innovation departments. And they could be at any stage of the journey. They could be at the very beginning during the idea stage, or in the middle where they're trying to prototype the ideas, or at the end when they're trying to scale fully established ideas and they're trying to figure out how to do that. Most people have good ideas that they want to explore. Right? The challenge most face, especially when it comes to technology, is that it's intimidating, it's overwhelming, it's scary, and it's confusing. Right? So most people more or less give up at that stage because it's too complex. Right? Those that take it a step further usually start off by getting in touch with a vendor from day one, right? Which might be a web development agency, it might be a software development house. Now the challenge you have with that is that you're already going down a specific path, right? What Strawpath is trying to do is help you explore the ideas you have and then help you figure out which vendors you need to work with, if you need to work with any vendors in the first place. The best analogy to use is we do what architects do for houses for innovation. So the architect doesn't actually build you the house. They help you design it, explore different options, different designs. And we do the same with ideas. We explore different designs, we turn them around, we work with you to figure out, what's the best design for your idea. Once we've done that, then we figure out who's the best team to build it for you or to make it happen. And that's what Strawpath is. We help you figure out and design your ideas.
Innovation. What does it even mean? Digital, AI, machine learning, virtual reality, augmented reality? Do I need to be a technology expert to get my ideas realized? How do I go from a simple idea to seeing my innovation in the market, in the hands of paying customers? Technology can seem mysterious and intimidating, limiting what founders, entrepreneurs, and corporations believe they can achieve with digital transformation within their organizations. At Strawpath, we take pride in making technology and innovation simple and less mysterious. The Strawpath Approach is our 5-stage process for taking ideas from inception to prototype to full-fledged product. It is based on decades of experience working with founders, startups, and global corporations. The 5 stages are: 1. Identify opportunities by looking at problems that need solutions. 2. Explore product and solution ideas. 3. Develop simple prototypes. 4. Start gaining traction with initial customers. 5. Strengthen the foundations that will enable your product to scale and grow. At each stage, we explain the key activities and key stakeholders that you need to focus on, using plain language that is accessible and relatable. The Strawpath approach enables you to break a long, complex process into small, manageable steps and focus on the relevant tasks and activities that you can accomplish. So, do you have burning ideas that you have always wanted to explore? Let your imagination go wild. Unlock your inner innovation. Try the Strawpath approach today.